welcome to Walker Tea Review. I'm Jason Walker here to prepare a tea, to look at the tea together so that we can kind of uncover what this tea is really all about and explore teas in the process, explore a little bit about our sense of taste, what styles we appreciate, what taste really motivates, what textures, aftertaste we can discover, more than just gulping the tea down. So I've got a black tea here. It's a kind of a bulky, long, wiry looking tea, so that's why I'm using my fingers to scoop out the leaves here. And I've got my water, it's been brought to a boil. It's been cooling for just around a minute, but I'm going to add it here slowly in my gaiwan. This is about a 4-ounce gaiwan. And I'm going to add enough water so a little bit rests above the lid, kind of creates a seal there. Let me get this water out of the way. Get this lid on and introduce this tea a little more thoroughly. This is from Canton Tea Company. This Canton Tea is based in the UK, although Phoenix, I'm remembering that Phoenix Tea Company in Washington is offering some and maybe expanding their line into several other teas of Canton. So they are the U.S. source for Canton teas. But this is a Canton Tea DanCongBlack. You can find 10 grams available on Canton Tea's site for $9.88. This is a 2011 harvest. And now DanCong is DanCong is a tea that is traditionally from southern China, Guangdong province in China. The DanCong tree, or bush, or shrub, whichever word you prefer, is usually used, the leaf is usually used for oolong, it's called DanCong oolong. This one has been converted or further oxidized into a black tea. So we're going to be looking at how that affects the tea. Does DanCong, a leaf that's usually used for oolong, does it do well as a black tea? But before we get to the pouring here, I almost got ahead of myself. I do want to talk a little bit about this dry leaf and give it a smell, give it an experience here. So let's go ahead first off and just kind of look at this. First off, what I pick up is there's a lot of kind of sweetness there. There's a grape, kind of grape skin type of sweetness. First off, I mean, there's characteristics there, that grape skin, that musket smell that is often associated with like a Darjeeling tea. This one goes a little bit further, a little bit richer in the sweetness, into a kind of a molasses type of smell. So there's a heavy, syrupy, sweet kind of smell coming off of this. These leaves, now a DanCong oolong is often wrapped or shaped in the same, rolled in the same style, long and wiry. You've got pieces here that are over 1.5 inches, nearly 2 inches in length. Some of them, be 2 inches or more here. So you've got long, slender-looking leaves, fairly thin, brittle, indicating that these are, in many cases, single leaves, not thick, coarse type of leaves, but something that's a little bit more thinner, easily wrapped, more tightly wrapped, and therefore more likely to snap rather than just kind of bend or tear into bend, or tear as it bends, I should say. Colors here, deep, rich, that a lot of bister type, grayish, I should say brown, moving over towards, I mean, there is kind of a red element to this, a deep red brown look to it, combined with that gray as well. So that's a good indication or a good introduction to our dry leaf here. I'm going to move on now and really get into pour and talk about the wet leaf and the liquor. I'm going to go ahead. I've got my lid angled over to the side, so I've got enough of a gap so that my tea pours through. And that, of course, that leaves a gap at the top, what will become the top here, so that the air will enter and give us a nice smooth pour. just like that. Looks good. Get those last few drops to come out, and then I'll be able to look at this wet leaf. Give it a smell first. So aromas on the lid there were weaker, much weaker. Almost, the smell was almost undetectable there on the inside the lid. It's still a faint grape skin, red grape type of smell. Much richer when you stick your nose into the cup here. And again, same rich red grape skin sweetness there. Raisin type sweetness is in there as well. So those are still the dominant. I didn't get as much of the molasses smell as I did in the dry leaf there. Looking at these leaves though, pulling out one here that's over or approximately 2 inches or so in length. It's still tightly wrapped. Feels like this is, and it's got a thick, coarse stem type of feeling. So at least a portion of this 2 inches here is a bit of a stem here. Let me kind of pull out. Here's a smaller piece that is clearly a leaf. It is more gentle, or it's more giving, more pliable, and it is unfurling. So let me kind of tease this apart. The leaf color has still remained fairly dark, so that, and oxidation is not, I don't see blotchiness, so oxidation looks pretty consistent or thorough throughout this leaf. Let me stick that there as well. It's become more of a darker, but a consistent dark grayish green type of color there. Another piece here. Leaves here are fairly supple, fairly thin, and this one's a bit more of a red. It got a little bit more of a reddish tinge. You can still see the jagged edge, the little teeth there on the edge of the leaf. So this leaf did not get punched around to the point that it got torn on the edges. Although there is a portion missing from this particular leaf piece here. But that gives us a clue as to the amount of oxidation, the fact that these are fairly, they're wrapped a little bit, but they haven't fully unfurled on the first steep, so there's a positive element there. It's not fully loosened up and yielded everything that it can on that first steep. So let's go ahead now. I'm gonna look at the liquor here, give that a swirl to kind of get the steam off the sides and look at that color. Nice amber to, you could say, coppery orange, reddish orange colors there. And that's, I have seen some dancongs that are bordering on or close to this type of color, although this one's richer, deeper red and darker because it did get a little bit, it did get more oxidation than a oolong usually does. Okay. Aromas are light, but still sweet, and it's a light, steeped, almost as if I put raisins in hot water. The raisin smell is starting to lightly rise up off of that aroma there. First steep there didn't really hit me that well. Let me give it. Okay, what I noticed in this steep and in off-camera steepings, off-camera tastings, was that this particular tea, there is some taste there, but it's not very pronounced. That you have to really work to coax the aroma, the texture out of this tea. Compared to there are some other DanCongBlack teas out on the market, and compared to them, the ones that I've tasted at least, this one had lighter elements in the texture, lighter elements of aroma and taste. And so what you're left with in the aftertaste is also lighter, thinner. So when I look at this tea, it takes a lot of effort, it takes work, and it may take a lot of time, a lot of heat, and a lot of leaf to really pull out something with a thick, rich aroma, taste, texture, and aftertaste. So because of the amount of extra effort that would be put in, that would be required to fill out this tea, I'd give this tea an 87. I would hope to see more if you are wanting something very gentle, very easy as far as intensity. This would be something to consider. At the same time, easy, yes, but not as much complexity there either. So come back to Walker Tea Review to find the teas with the texture, subtlety, and complexity that you're looking for.